Well, that's what we're sinking our teeth into. We have with us this morning Gerald Ekwunife, is a legal practitioner, and we also have with us Mr. Emmanuel Anene, who is also a legal practitioner. Gentlemen, you're welcome to Sunrise Daily this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And good
well,
morning,
you have seen the controversy coming up in Edo State House of Assembly. The House of Representatives was the first to go there to investigate and come up with recommendations on Edo State House of Assembly. They asked the governor to issue a fresh order proclamation. I think the governor did say then that he wasn't going to do it. It will be illegal, that he can't do that twice also. And then they couldn't do that by themselves. I mean, we were told that the Senate will have to concur with the House of Representatives for them to be able to invoke the relevant sections of the Constitution, which will empower the National Assembly take over the functions of the Edo State House of Assembly. And now we find out that the Senate, after conducting their own investigation, they are also asking the governor to issue a fresh proclamation, failing which they would take over the responsibilities of the State House of Assembly, and they're giving him 1 week. What do you make of the controversies that have trailed the inauguration of the Edo State House of Assembly so far? Let's start with you, Mr. Anene.
Yeah. Good morning, Nigerians. You see, if you look at the constitutional provisions, the National Assembly is on its own frame. I don't know where they got the power from. Section 105, Section 1 says the life of the State House of Assembly lasts for 4 years, starting from the first day of the sitting. Has the Edo State House of Assembly started sitting? The answer is yes. If you take it to Section 105, Section 3, which empowers the governor to issue a proclamation. Once a governor issues such a proclamation, the power becomes exhaustive. He cannot do anything again, unless a court of competent jurisdiction first set aside the proclamation so issued by the governor and now order the governor to issue a fresh proclamation. Now, the Edo State governor issued a proclamation upon which the man in authority, that is the clerk of Edo State House of Assembly, inaugurated Edo State House of Assembly. Now, if you look at Section 96 of 1999 Constitution, it provides for quorum. What are the quorum that the House will have for it to commence business? The quorum is 1/3. And we're made to understand that 9 members were present on the day of the inauguration, and the Edo State House and the Speaker of the House of Assembly did inaugurate the State House of Assembly. And Section 96 did not envisage a situation where every member of the State House of Assembly must be present for there to be inauguration. Now, National Assembly is pretending to drive their power from Section 11, Subsection 4 of 1999 Constitution.
Yeah, I was just going to bring your attention there because you said you do not know what section they derived it from. And I think it's very, very clear here. 11.4 says that
let me tell you what the provision provides.
By all means,
go ahead. If the State House of Assembly is unable to carry out its functions by reason of prevailing circumstances in the state, the National Assembly can take over the legislative functions of that State House of Assembly, except to the extent of impeaching a governor and his deputy. Now, this situation...
I think it's important that we clarify the situation that the Constitution says here. It says... by reason of the situation prevailing in that state, the National Assembly may make laws for the peace, order, and good government of that state with respect to matters on which a House of Assembly may make laws as may appear to the National Assembly to be necessary or expedient until such a time as the House of Assembly is able to resume its functions. And any laws enacted by the National Assembly pursuant to this section shall have effect as if they were laws enacted by the House of Assembly of the state, or provided that nothing, that's what you talk about, provided that nothing in the section shall be construed as conferring on the National Assembly power to remove the governor or deputy governor of the state from office.
Now, the situation in Edo State, has it shown that the State House of Assembly is unable to carry out its function? The answer is no. That certain members have not made themselves available to be inaugurated. These are members-elect. And you cannot complain as a member-elect unless and until you get yourself inaugurated in the State House of Assembly. That is the only way you can complain. And for National Assembly, Section 4, Section 11, Section 4 did not empower National Assembly to issue directive to a serving governor, a sitting governor. 1 week ultimatum. Where did they get the power? The section you cited said, take over. The condition is if they are unable. Now they're giving a second condition, unless and until he issue another proclamation.
But they were petitioned.
Petitioned by who? The matter is pending in court. And in the first program you had, he said National Assembly guides their own rules jealously. The rule of national, the standing rule of the Senate and the House of Representatives is on the fact that if a matter is pending in court, the National Assembly stays clear. That is in favor of the principle of lex pendens and sub judice. Now, for a matter that is pending in court, National Assembly assumes jurisdiction to investigate a matter pending in court and issue a far-reaching order.
Let's take the thoughts of Mr. Ekwunife. What are your thoughts on this? You have heard Mr. Nenetha.
I guess, Mokwe, thank you for having me again. Actually, I'm glad to be here. Let's take it starting from the genesis of the crisis. What is really the problem? The problem is National Assembly wants to take over the functions of a state House of Assembly. To do what? To make laws, as you outlined, for order, peace, and good governance, nothing more. You even read the caveat that said, under no circumstance should they attempt to impeach the governor. Did the National Assembly wake up and just, left, their screening functions and other functions and decide to go after, one governor out of so many? The answer is no. From what you read, subsection 4, permit me. Okay, quickly, it says here, at any time when any House of Assembly of a state is unable to perform its function by reason of the situation prevailing in that state, if there is a situation that makes a house unable to perform its function. Now, my learned brother, said that, the Edo State House of Assembly, nothing has shown that it's been unable to perform its function. I've heard that argument severally. Now, when you read constitutional provision, it's not just, only at face value. The interpretation can also not be at face value. My brother understands that even, before the temple of justice, there are different canons of interpretation. So you see golden rule and all of that. Now, what are the functions of a House of Assembly or a legislature? Then we can, decide whether they've been able to perform that function or not. Because, let me state, up front, the job of a House of Assembly or any legislature for that matter, does not start and end with passing budgets. Staying in one corner of the room to pass what? Budget and do basic functions, and off you go. Now, what are the jobs? There are so many. This section envisages a situation whereby the House should be properly constituted, should be doing oversight function, should be doing appropriation duty, should be entertaining the public through its standing committees openly. They can be traced, they can be accessed at any point. But you are aware that a group has petitioned. You are aware at a point of some people asking, that the Inspector General of Police should seal up the house. Now that's the prevailing situation it talks about. If you stretch it further, you will understand that there is no way a 9-member out of 24 can carry out the myriads of functions of a state house. How many committees will they constitute?
So they have a number of issues that have come up in recent times. One is that the governor is saying that he cannot, that the Constitution did not envisage a situation where he will be ordered to, or where he will have to issue multiple proclamations to inaugurate the State House of Assembly, that he has done the one that the Constitution asked him to do. That is on the one hand. On the other hand, some people are saying the House, or the State House of Assembly has been inaugurated. That all that is left, as Ms. Anene pointed out, is for the other members to present themselves, as we saw at the National Assembly, for them to be sworn in.
May I quickly say this? It is clear the procedure for what? Inaugurating a house. Let's not get it confused. Procedure says once the president transmits a letter to the clerk, in this case the governor, transmits a letter to the clerk of a state legislature indicating his interest, normally it must carry a date, a time, a venue. Because the interpretation I hear from some of our learned colleagues is that it's nebulous. The Constitution never said it carries that. The moment, because where are you going to do it? anywhere, and that's why we get the argument that some people say it's done at night. It doesn't matter. It can be done in my wife's kitchen. It doesn't matter. No, the framers of the Constitution never envisaged such crisis and chaos. The moment their letter is transmitted to the clerk, the first thing is he publishes it. He makes it clear. It must get to every member of the House, because the legislature is about the people. That is, the entire people. A state, an entity is governed, by all elected members. You cannot shortchange them and still be pleading legality. The moment you communicate, these are the procedure, and they are intact. Every house, including the Senate, the House of Rep, they have their standing orders, their standing rules. These standing rules, standing orders, they have the force of law. You must follow it strictly. If you violate that principle, that act of inauguration cannot stand the test of time. I put it to you, and I challenge my brother here, that was not complied with. What are the rules? Number one, the moment the clerk gets that, he communicates to every member of the House, and they will assemble at a place, a time, a venue, again. When they meet there, what happens? He will read the president's letter to all the members. Mind you, they are still at this point members nominee. They are not legislators, right? So once you read it, he proceeds immediately to do what is called what? A roll call in alphabetical order of all the members. And then when he's doing that, every member comes forward, presents their wreath of election, evidence that they were elected, INEC, certificate of return. Immediately after that, the next thing is they will also present a constitutional requirement, a receipt of the declaration of their assets and liabilities. The clerk must, as of necessity, point of law, place it on the table, his table, National Assembly. Immediately after that, he will proceed to do what? Before the swearing in. To do what? To make sure that the election of principal officers are carried out. After that, the principal officer, namely the Senate, the Speaker and Deputy Speaker, will now in turn take their seats and then do the same for their members. If this is not done, no competent court, will hold that a valid inauguration has happened. This never happened from what we hear. Findings of the Senate, from the finding of the House, this never happened in Edo State. What they found was that there was on the 17th a letter indeed that says 3 p.m. Specified a time. The majority, 16 members, as we are 14, as we hear, were never contacted, and they went by the corner somewhere by 9 p.m., and it's so, quote and unquote, inaugurated, and they are turning to plead the law. It doesn't stand.
Mr. Nene, do you have anything to do to fault the process? Because he says the process, that indeed the Constitution stipulates certain things, but that a process must be followed for it to actually be held as valid.
And there are laws guiding it.
Most Nigerians read their own intention into constitutional provisions. And so unfortunate. The issue is this. Was there a communication? This section 105, section 3 said a proclamation by the governor. Was there a proclamation by the governor? The answer is yes. Was that proclamation acted upon by the clerk of the House? The answer is yes. Was there an inauguration? The answer is yes. Now, my colleague said...
Let me quickly ask you this so that we can put it in context.
Yes.
When the Senate was reading out some of the reasons why it is asking the governor to issue a fresh proclamation, it said that the governor should issue a fresh proclamation and that the clerk should publish it. Because when something is a proclamation...
The proclamation issued by Mr. President that convoked the National Assembly, where was it published?
May I land? May I land? When you hear a proclamation, yes, one would think that it is something that should be heard by everyone. And that would be those who are involved and maybe even those who are not involved. So much so that they say that it should be published in line with best practices, or legislative best practices. Doesn't it say that something indeed wasn't quite followed in terms of the processes that way?
I have a line of thought.
By all means, go ahead.
I have a line of thought.
Finish your line of thought.
Section 105, that's the last section here, empowers the governor to issue a proclamation. Once he issues that proclamation, that power is extinguished. He cannot reissue another one, except by order of court of competent jurisdiction, and that has happened. And the matter is pending in court. Now, my colleague here said that their member nominee, our constitution is unknown to member nominee. There are two classes of members in the Edo State Assembly.
Members elect, huh?
Yes, members elect, those who have refused to make themselves available to be sworn in on one side, and those who made themselves available to be sworn in. Those are the Edo State House of Assembly members. And unless and until those other persons who have refused, neglected, or failed to make themselves available to be sworn in, get sworn in, they will still remain members elect. And the actions, the privileges, the rights of Edo State House of Assembly members cannot inure to them. And he said that the prevailing circumstance in Edo State is that some persons wrote a petition, and some persons asked the IGO police or relevant security agencies to see, and that becomes an existing situation in Edo State to warrant National Assembly to take over the functions of Edo State Assembly. That was not envisaged in the Constitution. So if somebody sits on his bedroom and writes a petition, or order IG or DSS because of his position, and is not a member of Edo State House of Assembly, and not even a member elect, now the National Assembly will act upon that. Where did they get the power from? And the National Assembly is directing a governor. Section 105 did not prescribe the form. Now, the proclamation issued by Mr. President that convoked National Assembly, was it published? Now, the question is this. The clerk of Edo State House of Assembly, did they inform others and they refused to make themselves available? These are the questions that will be determined in court. And he said no court of competent jurisdiction can hold that what happened in the Edo State Assembly is valid. Now, good to it. The matter is already pending in court. Why not allow the court of law to make a valid pronouncement whether what transpired in the Edo State Assembly is valid or not? The National Assembly did not wait. They went on the frolic of their own, possibly to blackmail the governor and start extorting money from him. We have had this situation before. In Rivers State, when National Assembly took the legislative functions of Rivers State Assembly, how many laws did they pass for them? How many oversight did they carry out in Rivers State? Nothing. It's just for the purposes of taking over the state to extort money from the governor and nothing else.
Let me say this. Mr. Nene, I think it's extremely important that we put things in context.
It's in context.
And that we should not say things that, you know, we do not have proof.
The proof is this.
Just a moment. If I ask you now if you have proof that how the National Assembly extorted money from a state governor, do you have it?
I said intendment.
No.
Because they did not.
You cannot.
We have been here before.
You cannot be saying things based on intendment. You have to say it based on facts, because if you're trying to spoil or ruin the reputation of the National Assembly, you should actually have proof to that effect.
Can you listen to me very well? He said 9 members cannot necessarily carry out the functions of the State House of Assembly. And that was why National Assembly would take over the functions of a State House of Assembly. And I told you.
No, just a moment, because you made reference to Rivers. Are you saying then that it was justified or justifiable that 5 members were trying to sit and perform the functions of the State House of Assembly?
Whether
okay?
it's justified or not.
I'm asking you a question. It's a very simple question.
Now.
Is it okay? Is it justifiable?
It's not about being okay. I have a line of thought. The issue is this.
You have a line of thought,
even
but
a member
also answering questions. Is it okay? Is it justifiable that 5 members will sit to perform the functions of a State House of Assembly?
If 5 members of Rivers State House of Assembly wants to carry out the functions of the State House of Assembly, and National Assembly did intervene in the matter, the National Assembly must be seen to be carrying out the legislative functions of that state. They cannot just sit and wake up and take over the legislative functions of Rivers State without doing more. Okay. You see, we have to be circumspect.
Let me bring it now to what is happening in Edo State. You have said that there is no basis for the National Assembly to take over the functions of the State House.
The governor said something that I want to join. The governor said it's about the money of Edo State. It's not about the sin is committed. He said it's about the money. So when I say that the intendment may be to blackmail the governor and collect money, it's in line with the governor's position. That the money is involved here, the sharing formula.
May I just correct? I listened to the governor now. You played it. The governor was not talking about National Assembly. He was talking about that the trouble he's having with probably Oshomole and other APC stakeholders there is that them want him to share money to them, not to National Assembly. Please, it's important as enlightened, you know, especially as professionals. When we come on air, let's not do the same argument we have in the polity over social media. Let me stick with the law. Mind you, the steps I outlined, I did not, you know, just get them from my brain. That was the step-by-step, you know, procedure for validly, legally inaugurating legislatures in Nigeria. I quoted verbatim for you the, you know, Senate Standing Order, 2015. That's the, you know, rule. Now, every state legislature have theirs. It is in the same way. You cannot, in a democratic, you know, setting, come out and exclude the majority, not informing them of the time, and you just inaugurate a few. By the way, let me add.
The clerk was very clear.
Yep.
He said he informed everybody. He said he informed everybody and that they were waiting for
May
them.
I ask a question?
Yes.
If you informed people, because he asked the question, where did President Buhari publish it? The question is that was open knowledge. It was announced, I was in Abuja here, that the Senate will be inaugurated on a certain time, 10 p.m. Everybody knew. Now, I agree. It is in a court of law that you resolve whether that is validly done. Okay, so I am not defending the Senate have their legal team. They should be advised if indeed there is a matter pending, especially if as I hear that they have been restrained. The step to go is what? Approach the court, vacate, you know, the restraining order, and advance evidence why you should carry out the empowerment of Section 11, subsection 4. Okay, but outside that, mind you, he talked about, you know, quorum. You see, most of our learned brothers, you know, my learned brothers, they go with all argument. If you check the extant provision, Section 92, I don't have time. If you want, I could read it. It did not, when it is talking about the inauguration of a house, it did not talk about quorum. The quorum comes after a house has been inaugurated. A court does not sit when there is no judge or panel of judges. In this case, a speaker has not been elected. Presiding officers have not been elected. Those people, like I maintain, are not legislators. They are members-elect. And it is the swearing in that makes them. Now, the Constitution or the law does not envisage any situation whereby members are excluded from exercising democratic right of electing their own speakers.
We're almost out of time, so I want you to take your closing remarks, Mr. Anene. Are you not worried about the precedents? Because it is interesting now that we're beginning to cite what happened in the National Assembly in 2015 as one of the bases, and the basis for comparison, even though not everything here is matching.
I'm sorry, I'm not intervening. In 2015, like I maintained here, they were told venue. The others chose to go for a meeting, and that's why they never complained.
Indeed. So let us look at that. Are you not worried about the precedents that this could set?
You see,
in the Edo State, from the Edo State House of Assembly?
Which precedent? The House of Assembly is functional, and certain persons have gone to court. So the only way to resolve this is allow the court to make a decision in one way or the other. Or those other members elected that are aggrieved should make themselves available to be inaugurated by the Speaker of the, because there was election of a Speaker and Deputy Speaker.
By 9 members out of 24.
Gentlemen, it's a fine place to leave it. We have to thank both of you for coming on Sunrise Daily. Gerald Ekwunife is a legal practitioner, and Mr. Emmanuel Anene is also a legal practitioner. That's it for this segment of Sunrise Daily. It continues in a moment. Please stay with us.